I don't know what's going on here.
Yep. What we have here, Soundwave, is something I don't even believe I got.
And yet you have a Titan class figure.
Fair enough. I mean, seriously. Generations Skylynx? When was I ever gonna get that?
You did get it.
Sarcasm goes over your head, doesn't it?
Since when has that been a thing?
Fair point, you're just being yourself.
Right.
Anyway. Hello, my name is Soundwave Gamer, and today we have a figure I didn't think I would ever get. Because I never got Siege, Jetfire, and now I can never get it because it went up to $126. Yeah, I'm not paying that. That's being scalped. That's what being scalped is. But anyway, this is Earthrise Skylynx, and I talked about Six Shots Box being a monument to his glory, but I think Skylynx would definitely say this is towards his glory. No one else, just him. The narcissist always does what he can. It's got a nice artwork. You have both Sky and Lynx on it. You have Ramjet, Dirge. Now I want their box set. Why are you doing this to me, Hasbro? On the side, you have the traditional Earthrise artwork that's been going on with this series. On the back, you have all of his modes. There are 4. Oh joy. Yep, this is gonna be a long one.
What about the time you tried to review Titan class figure?
We're not even speaking of that. That's going to be a review in the far distant future of probably never going to happen. But this thing is definitely going to happen. Oh look, and there's Thrust. So I guess we'll be getting all of them. So let's get this. And oh boy, the scale of this is just incredible because this thing is far away from me just so I can fit it on this camera, because the camera somehow zooms in when I'm filming, but when I'm watching it, it's zoomed out. So take it as you will, you'll probably be seeing it much farther than what I'm seeing. But yeah, this is Skylynx, and oh, I forgot to mention, every box comes with one of these star maps for Earthrise, and there's a little decoder thing, but I'm not gonna care about Char or the Dead Universe. What? Why isn't its place here now? Whatever. Don't really focus on those. Skylynx is a big boy. Like, seriously, this is gigantic. I had my dog next to this thing. This was about the size of a chihuahua. Or a small dog. Almost a small dog. Needless to say, this thing is big. It's big. I mean, the only other figure that's in my collection that could even match this is my Triptychon, and then again, that thing's 18 inches tall. This guy is just big on his own and is just beautiful to look at. I mean, look at this head sculpt for him. Isn't he magnificent? Yes, I'm magnificent. Praise my glory. Shut up. This is a review. I'm doing the review, not you. Oh. Bother. Anyway, it's a massive figure that honestly feels good in hand. It's not like, say, this guy, who feels alright compared to some of the other figures, like the Prime Wars trilogy. He actually feels solid, but to an extent not as solid as, say, the old figures that I grew up with. All the Armada and stuff. But this guy, he doesn't feel the same way, but he feels a lot sturdier. I mean, look at this thing. This big griffin is just glorious to have in hand. I never got the Combiner Wars figure because I wasn't not interested in it. It wasn't Skylynx to me, but this guy, This guy's Skylynx. Like, this oozes Skylynx in fold. Yeah, the Combiner Wars guy was, yes, the Griffin on a soapbox, or ice freezer block, according to few. But this guy, now, he's a shuttle on a freezer block, but detachable from the freezer block. How is that a point? How does it make it better? I just want to get this out of the way just because these things are just gonna pop. Oh, and we'll get to those later. But yeah, so he comes with 2 accessories, cannons that just fit on the sides. But even the box art had these on it, but they form onto the legs so they can just disappear without you ever knowing. And yeah, these really don't fit together well, so it's kind of like, yeah. But you can put them on any character that's a part of the Siege line. And yeah, they're on 5mm boards, so they're gonna fit really well. I mean, out of all the things from this set, these actually feel a bit cheap. But then again, you're not really gonna be doing much with these. You're just gonna be putting them on and just leaving them there. So he also comes with some effect parts. So he comes with these small fires, and then the Omega Beam. Yeah, because this is just Omega Supreme's one, just detaches, just neon orange. I don't have Omega Supreme because, yeah, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying that price. But, yeah. So, he looks incredible. The detail on him is astounding. He's got a nice head. Like I said, he's got a nice head sculpt. His tongue actually moves, and it has a rifle in it. It's so beautiful. And if you want, you can put the effect part in and weigh down the head, because this thing is massive. Yeah, the ball joint can't handle the weight of this plastic. It's soft plastic, but it's heavy. But it makes a solid mess. Like, the jaw opens up, and it's really nice to look at. I don't care when people complain about his eyes, because it's the visor look. This kind of acts something like Soundwave's, where it's just a visor. It's not individual eyes, it's just a single visor. How is that a hard concept? I mean, compared to most figures, this thing feels nice, it looks nice, like the detail work on this thing. My God, it's beautiful. Like, you have... Is the legs not wanting to... Okay, weird. This one's off the ground for some odd reason. There we go. Now that one's off the ground. There we go, I think, yeah. Now he's in Griffin mode. In all of his glory. Like, the feet all work nice, and you heard there. We'll get to those later, because those are incredible. Yeah, his wings just look gorgeous. With the giant Autobot insignia with engraved. I also want to say something. On camera, this is a pure white. However, in my view, it's got kind of like a... Like if you were to leave out white in the sun for years. Kind of like the Autobot insignia, where it's like faded. It's got a nice fade and effect, and it just looks beautiful. The blue is not that dark. In person, it's a lot brighter, to be honest. It's got a nice contrast. The red isn't as crimson. It's a little more crimson, too. I mean, this thing just oozes personality and expensivity. Detail on him is excellent, with all these ridges painted or sculpted into it. I mean, you have a bit of kibble from the other mode, but we'll get to that later. The rocket boosters are on the back, and he's got his tail, which is segmented. And for some odd reason, it can just unclip. Yeah, all the other sections are pinned, but this one, it's just clipped in. I don't see that lasting long. He's got 5mm ports on the back of his tail. All the segments are beautifully done, except the end, which is just very loose. I don't know why. Okay, this thing doesn't want to peg in. Okay, now there's a couple of complaints. For instance, dude, yeah, that the pegs on these aren't that tight. But again, most people have been dealing with that, but I could probably fix that. Also, another problem are these wings. These wings are incredible, and they have some wide range of posability. But I can't access that posability because of the mushroom peg. He's very loose on my on all the copies apparently. But I can just go in there, I'll probably get something to go in there and thicken it, so it could at least fit. I just need to go and look up something that I could use to do that. But overall, other problems, there's really not that many. I personally enjoy this figure. Articulation, we have a ball joint at the head, so he's got a wide range of motion in the head. His neck is very posable, with it having a side-to-side waggle, up and down the other joints of the neck, and a side-to-side waggle at the base. His feet, and if you heard all that, those are ratchet joints. This thing is ratcheted to no end. Legs are on ratchet. Hip joint on ratchet. Swivel. Soft ratchet here. Soft ratchet on the feet. And an ankle pivot. Back legs are on the same heavy joints. Like, these leg joints are heavy when they click. It's so... I haven't heard something like this since Cybertron, and my god, it sounds beautiful. By Primus, it's beautiful. Wings are on a ratchet as well, with a mushroom peg and some swivels. And some hinges. Sorry. There you see, it's very loose, so yeah. And then tails on a segment, and a hinge here, a clipped hinge here, hinge here, and a hinge here. Overall, it's got some nice posability. Oh, I forgot to flip these out, but I really don't care about these tails because I don't really like the whole three-tailed look for him. But it's what they want. Yeah, this guy is pretty massive, but he can do, and let's look at the size comparisons for this guy. Let's get his neck proud, raised and proud. Here he is next to Siege Soundwave, Earthrise Wheeljack, Earthrise Voyager class Optimus Prime, Leader class Optimus Prime. Look, it's next to Soundwave. I can't tell what this is. It's the same figure from... It's a different mold, yeah, but similar pieces to Siege. And then, finally, Leader Class Overlord. He's only a few inches taller than him. That's with his head proudly raised over his body. That's an impressive feat. See, I told you, I'm magnificent! You're a magnificent griffin. You know, when you say it, it sounds cheesy. Am I the only one who thinks that this is weird? I mean, normally the figures don't talk to me. Other than you, of course, Soundwave.
Yeah, whatever.
But I, for one, find it interesting that you have incorporated all of us into this project. Has my sanity broken after all these months of this whole epidemic? I, for one, think it is, but I'm not a medic, so don't take my word for it. On to transformation. Oh, no, we're not doing that transformation yet because we actually have other modes we can put him into. You thought this was just his final form? Well, you're mistaken, because he has more than this. So, what we're going to do is we're going to unhinge that and no, wait. Well, actually, we have to take this apart to do the other form. So, what we're going to do is we're going to end. I'm going to do it like this then. We're going to transform him into his, what he usually looked like in G1. Start off with, we're going to flip down tails, fold in the legs, articulate the feet so that way they're going to go under him on all of his legs. And that will just pop off because why not? Fold up the legs like that. Okay, I'm having to pick this thing up and it's sometimes it's heavy. Fold these up. Do the same thing on this side. Sometimes it's hard to get the peg in. Next, come along to the back. Open up the door. Fold up the tail into it kind of just, it's like a scissor scaffold. Next, you take the wings, fold that up, fold them up, and then collapse them, and then peg them into the side of the fuselage. Same thing on the other side. And now with a satisfying click. Oh, fun. Alright, now to come along to the head, close up the mouth, extend the neck down, and just force everything in. And here we have his actual G1 form. The form he usually used in the show. And this just looks ridiculous. I'm sorry, and I've said this a couple of times with ridiculous modes. I'm just a sucker for a ridiculous alt mode. Like I'm the guy who bought Notice Meow on Modern Warfare, so I like my things to look stupid. I like stupid. It makes it unique. This is just ridiculous. I love this little guy. He's funny. Like, this figure is just awesome in hand to hold, and in this vehicle mode, it's very hefty. Like, the detail on this thing is astounding, but I'm gonna get into it when we separate this guy. Like, it just looks like it's just, I mean, the bottom half is just putting its legs in together. It's not even doing much. And the top portion, it's just a shuttle. It's literally just a shuttle on top. Like, literally, that's it. I mean, you have all the detail from the robot mode. Some of it has been hidden, but other than that, I mean, the bits of red have all just disappeared, but really, it's just a giant space shuttle on a brick. But, yeah. Okay, the reason I didn't want to do this because I started with the Griffin mode, was the fact of, well, a couple of things. One, it has always been painted. I don't know, I just got this today, so, first off, the problem with the figure is that there are a clip system, and I'll show you it once I get this guy off. That I'll get into that a little later. One of the things is that I'm going to be turning this guy from I'm going to be showing you the base mode. I need these guys separated. If I were to go and separate them and then do their transformation and then reconnect them, and then only to then deconnect them, it just seemed weird and not like something I should do. So I decided to just do it like this. So with that said, what we're going to do is unclip this guy from here and move this off the side. Now, the thing, there's a clip right here that you pull and it unlatches so it can come off. Under here, there's a peg hole right there that latches onto here. So you're supposed to slide this in and do that. the thing is, this thing is really hard. You can't just do it like that, because if you try to lift it up, the connection isn't good. So you have to really force it in there. I don't think it's going to be a problem with how the plastic feels on this guy, but I'm going to have to be careful of that. He'll probably stay in Griffin mode most of his time anyway, so why not? But yeah, we have a brick and a space shuttle. And I've seen space shuttles before. This looks like a space shuttle, and I like it. No, I've actually seen Discovery once. But yeah. He just, like, the NASA logo on the side just looks gorgeous with this. And the paint. Most of this is painted, by the way. Most, yes, is plastic, but it's also paint. And they did a good job on painting all, like, the re-entry plates. And to hide, like, hinges and different pieces. Like, up here, there's some nice art, some nice paint work. Gold windows, gold along the sides. Heck, there's even this nice gold on this. Dr. Lockdown really went to town on talking about this thing. Like, it's a gorgeous thing. And then the boosters. What I love about this, and what Astrotrain and all my other shuttle bots do not, the version of Astrotrain I have that does, that this guy doesn't, is have straight boosters. You want to hear what the thing about this thing is? The reason these are not supposed to be straight is because in the actual shuttle, they're designed to be like this when coming in for re-entry. Even though there's no fuel system on this thing. Funny how that works. But yeah, and I mean, the detail on this thing is astounding. Like, look, the crazy people over at Hasbro, designers etched in every little panel of detail on this nose cone. I mean, this is astounding, don't get me wrong. I'm just impressed. And it's got a little magnificence on the side. Because he doesn't need an ego boost at all, does he? And then this NASA logo. This is something I am proud to see on this. Because it means NASA has given their permission for this figure to exist. I'm kind of happy with that. And what we can do with the effect pieces is stick them on the back. So we can have him flying off into the unknown. That's kind of cool. Yeah, the actual shuttle wouldn't have fuel on this because there's no onboard fuel tank. That's why they had those giant boosters and that giant tank on them. But yeah, it looks really good. And I mean, this is a Cybertron vehicle. This is Cybertronian. He's not really gonna need fuel. And what's also cool, their flip down landing gear. That roll, it's kind of cool. I need a soft surface, but this guy could roll. They're not pinned, they're clipped, but hey, what are you gonna do? This is amazing. Oh, and as an added bonus, the repair bay is, you can open the repair bay, and there's this gold paint all over it. Sadly, the sculpt is broken by the screw, but I'm not really complaining, and there's only one port up here. That's the problem. Yeah, so overall, the shuttle mode is great. Now, we're going to take the interesting one, flip out his landing gear, put him off to the side. I don't know what to say, this is just a brick. It's designed to be a platform type thing that has treads. But the treads are too far back. I don't get why they have to be designed like this. This thing would be really top heavy. And yeah, the treads don't have wheels. There's wheels on the tail back here. And these have wheels. Oh, I forgot to show you. Look, I forgot to mention this. The bottom of this thing is actually very coherent. That did not sound good. Yeah, this thing really doesn't... Sometimes doesn't want to hold together, but I haven't had that many problems with it. But yeah, it's very coherent. I mean, yeah, there's red where there shouldn't be, but I mean, what else would you want? It looks nice anyway. I mean, this guy, same thing, no really big kibble. I mean, really, it's just kneeling down. Heck, there's no visible head on this. What's cool is there's a little ramp in here too that you can just unhook, and it's an area for Micromasters. I don't have any vehicle Micromasters, so I can't really do it, so yeah. Just gonna fold that up and close that. But yeah, it's pretty plain. And you can put the guns on the side so they can at least do something. And look, now he's a roving attack platform. Yay! Yeah, this thing is a brick on wheels, but hey, it's a good brick. So, on to the transformation of this thing. What we're going to do is we're going to have to just take off. We do everything we did with the Griffin mode, i.e. we just unhook we just retransform it back to almost the Griffin mode. We just don't have to do the Griffin. That always pegs. Flip these down. Sorry if I'm not talking too much with this one, because I'm just trying to get these out. Flip out the tails. And then we come around to the front, hold down this panel, flip around this joint, flip up the head, and close that panel up. Alright, next we come along with the Sky. Fold his landing gear up. Pull out the neck joint, and this neck joint is... Oh, I hit on the peg, on the nub. The back part nub. Yeah, pull out the neck. It's really difficult to get out, but you just gotta pull it. It's gonna be fine. Come around to the wings, unfold. Basically, we're just retransforming him back, just without all of the guff that we have to deal with having to deal with the links on the bottom. Basically, we're just retransforming him back, but not dealing with the Griffin part. Now we're just folding down these legs, unfold them, and try to get them into position. They're flat with the ground. Fold up the wings, because I just don't like them being anywhere else besides up. And then move him over here with the tail on the ground, because I'm not moving the tail, because that's the only thing keeping him up here. And here we have Sky and Lynx. And boy, these guys are big. Like, seriously, this is incredible. It's actually kind of funny to have these two. I mean, this is the main reason I wasn't really interested in the Combiner Wars figure, because, well, I also wasn't interested in combining the Skylynx. Well, not in this sense, but a torso type transform. You get what I'm saying. But these two actually look great together. I mean, Skylynx here just looks more often. The look we had, the Griffin mode isn't what we usually saw in G1, but he's sometimes appeared like this. I mean, his first introductory episode had him like this. He's got some nice little chicken legs. That's really the only new articulation he gets. They're on a really heavy ratchet there. Some soft ratchets there. More soft ratchets there. Ankle pivot. And a soft ratchet there with some knee bend. It's real. What's problematic is that this figure is really, really top heavy, because he's mostly hollow. He doesn't really have mass to him. He's just a hollow mess. And you can tell because of just there. This door refuses to close. Yeah, he's really top heavy. So the small legs are not going to help. That's why you need to keep him in Griffin mode. But then again, it makes it that you have a reason to keep him in Griffin mode. Also the fact that this is made for G1ers. This guy is incredible. But now we're going to look at Lynx because we have to. Lynx is a brick with a head now. Yeah, it's standing up on all fours now, and generally it looks nice. Got two tails for some odd reason. But yeah, I mean, most of this stuff is amazing. And you get a new Autobot logo on the front of him, and he can open his mouth too with a little tongue thing. Now there is a problem with this jaw that it doesn't have a stopping point like Sky does. So yeah, you don't have a way to stop it, and the tongue just folds with it. So there is a problem with this figure because if I want to put an effect part into his mouth, if I can get it in there, if I Primus, what is this? If I try to have him, it just falls down. It's too heavy for the joint. The only real new articulation he gets in this mode is this joint, a ball joint at the head, and his mouth can move. He can look up, and yeah, his mouth can move. Overall, he's still just as good. I think Lynx is just as good as Sky. I may be the only one who thinks that, but hey, me. A gripe that you can say is there's hollowness here, but I mean, they're mainly supposed to just be combined, and that's what most collectors are going to do, so why would you care if that's a hollow bit? Lockdown, it's not my place to, gripe about anyone, so, anyway, yeah, size comparison with these guys. Once again, Earthrise Optimus Prime, and I'm just going to do this. Overlord. Still, even without the height, he's still taller than him. Not by much though. Earthrise Optimus Prime and Earthrise Wheeljack. These guys are pretty good height. I mean, he's only just about as high as this guy, but I mean, if you take into account that this thing, jeez, is taller than a leader class like this. And then Skylynx with tail is just tall in general. So yeah. And now finally we're going to get into the final mode of this figure. The one everybody is sort of divisive of, and that being his base mode. So, pretty much we're just going to get Skylynx back into his shuttle mode. Pretty much he does nothing for this. He's pretty much just there for the show. And some of these parts are really difficult to get back in because they don't want to go back into where they belong. Just get in there and be fine. Good. Okay. Put the wings back into there. Fold down that. Fold it. Fold it up. Fold that, fold it. Peg everything back into place. And then we just take him and put him off to the side. Next, we take Lynx, closing the legs. We're going to take him back into his vehicle mode. But wait, before I get there, there is a ramp under here that if you open up, you can open up and move out. And what's cool is if I open up the ramp back here, it's a hollowness inside, but hey, it's actually going to make a little base. It's actually kind of cool.
Alright. Well, we're just basically going to first get him back into his alt mode, because that's going to be the easiest way to get him into his next mode. I'm not kidding. This is going to be way easier than just doing everything. Alright. Back to his brick. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fold out the legs, flip them around, do the same thing on the other side, because this will form the back end. Next, we fold, actually, no, I have to keep these up like that, my bad. Flip this entire section around, unclip the legs and fold them up, move the legs and flip up the heels, feet. Do the same thing on the other side. Next, fold down these ramps, unhook this ramp and fold it down. Take out this ramp, fold it up. Next, put this here, and put this here, and angle them as such. I like to do that just to make it look like they're turrets. And then finally, take Sky. We're going to peg him into, there are 2 pegs on this. We're going to peg into his rocket boosters, larger rocket boosters. And it's designed at a curve so that way you can stick him in. It doesn't peg in well, so it's not going to just stay together. We're going to open up this quick. Move this around gently. Fold down the ramp. And here we have Skylynx in his base mode. This actually looks beautiful. I have to agree with you that this actually looks good. I can't agree with Lockdown on it being ridiculous. Yes, some of the joints aren't designed. Some of these ramps really can't work with some of the gimmick parts of it. Like, let's take Earthrise Optimus Prime's trailer. Hold on a second, I'm just trying to fix it. We couldn't peg it into these, and I'm not going to try because it's just difficult to get these things in. But yeah, I could fit it onto the front, but not the sides. I need the other components to do that. Yeah, it's not fun. And on a side note, the trailer is pretty small compared to this. This thing is pretty big. I mean, this thing is just massive. I don't want to move it because it's just... Skylynx is just standing there, dangling by a thread, waiting for any sudden movement to collapse on us all. It's just big. The trailer, in its Masterpiece configuration, this is an official mode by the Masterpiece, for the Masterpiece Optimus Prime, so it's an official mode for me too. It's not as big as this base mode, but the base mode looks nice. I mean, you could stick Double Dealer next to it and just look like it had a missile platform next to it. Oh, I have a Double Dealer. Just gonna fold this down. Sorry. I'll do a review of Earthrise Optimus at some point, because, yeah, I wasn't gonna buy him, but I saw him, and, yeah. So, I'm doing this. Now we have 2 base modes next to each other. Why is this a thing? This doesn't look good. I need more Earthrise. I need the... I'm gonna start buying part formers. But, yeah, this guy... should you buy it if you have the money? Yeah, if you're a collector, yeah. If you have the money, sure. If you don't... Oh, wait, I forgot to do this. Well, I do not know, so don't question that.
But yeah, should you buy this if you have the cash? Yeah. If you don't, skip it. It's really just for people who want the Skylynx. I mean, the base mode would be an interesting thing for kids. So, I mean, yeah. Do whatever you want. I mean, the effect parts alone are, well, sort of good. I can just use them for my guns. My guys' guns now, so, yeah. You guys get blast effects.
Hooray.
You could be a little more enthusiastic than that.
Hooray.
There we go. Anyway. Oh, best part about this thing is, so I had gotten some Amazon gift cards. Random incident. So, yeah, I was able to buy this thing, use $75 worth of Amazon gift cards. So, at total, this thing was originally $80. It was dropped down to $74.68 on Amazon, and due to the gift cards, it paid $75, but then I still had to pay tax. This thing ran me, with those gift cards, this thing ran me $4.68. $4.68. Money I didn't need to use. God, I love Primus. I love gift cards. And this guy is the crowning achievement of why I love them. This guy is incredible, and I just love this figure. Pick it up if you can. Don't do it if you can't. I'm gonna say this, it's worth every ounce of fun. I mean, then again, I didn't think much of this guy, and I find myself transforming him every so often into vehicle mode. Just out of, like... I'm gonna review him, aren't I? I believe so. Anyway, I've been Soundwave Gamer,
And I've been Soundwave.
and this has been Skylynx. Tune in next time for a review that I might try to get up.